Okay, Venerable Sister, dear Dhamma friends. So we have come to the second question and answer session. So I invite you to start with the written questions.
Venerable Bhante, today we have altogether 12 questions,
Okay.
10 questions on meditation and 1 on Dhamma.
Okay.
Venerable Bhante, I am a beginner to meditation and I have few problems in my mind. Not only I start meditation, but I also engage in my studies and other things. I feel that I can't concentrate my mind even for few seconds, and also I always forget things severely. Is there any relationship between the two problems, and is there any method to prevent this? Thero Saranai.
So the question is two problems is the forgetting and the cannot concentrate, is it?
Yes. I can't concentrate my mind even for a few seconds,
Yeah.
and I also forget things severely.
Yes. So it could be, basically when we are doing studies, so suppose we are simply reading a book. So while we are reading the book, even though our eyes are towards the book, if our mind is entirely on something else, then we are not really able to pay our attention. So we may be spending a lot of hours, many hours, but still our mind is not well concentrated with what we are doing. So actually meditation helps. So if you can develop, before starting studies, say for example, you have to read a book. If you can spend few minutes in walking meditation, establishing your mindfulness, how you can say each and every step, how you establish mindfulness, and then if possible just coming back to yourself and concentrate few minutes on in-breath and out-breath, then it collects your mind, collects your attention, and forgets about all the distractions. You are able to have some kind of concentration, some kind of focused mind. So with that mind, when you are reading the book, it does not take long time to read the book, because so what you are reading, actually what you see through your eyes, that is what you are reading, and that is what you are reflecting through the mind as well. So all the actions are well harmonized, well synchronized. So typically what happens is our eyes are simply locating or focused to the content, but mind is entirely thinking of something else. So we are spending hours and hours maybe on the same page without catching the content. But when we have a focused attention, when we have a good concentrated mind, so then quickly we can go through the content. The content we can quickly go through because the mind is already there. Attention is already there. So therefore for studies, meditation really helps. And forgetting things actually also due to lack of mindfulness, because suppose while we are walking, suppose we see certain things, but while we are walking, suppose our mind is on something else. Say you are going towards school and you are thinking about something else, your friends and all various things. So you don't notice what you are experiencing while on the way. So you forget. If you may be meeting certain people, you may be passing certain places, but you don't have much attention because you are thinking entirely different thing. But mindfulness takes you to the present moment, to what you are experiencing. So while walking, you are with walking. And when you are seeing, you have some idea of what you are seeing. And therefore it actually registers in the mind, in your mind, in your brain, and you can easily recall later. So therefore again the mindfulness helps to remember things. So I actually highly recommend doing some amount of meditation before your studies. Do some walking meditation and if possible some breathing meditation, and definitely it will help. And there are many researches actually done, and many schools are doing it, and not only in Sri Lanka but all around the world. Now mindfulness is accepted as a very good exercise to improve studies, improve your that learning skills. So therefore, I highly recommend that. Yes.
Venerable Sir, during sitting meditation, I find it hard to maintain a proper sitting posture. Is there any other respectable posture one can have other than cross-legged? Also, how can I maintain this posture for long periods of time? Thero Saranai.
Yes. So, mainly if you are, say, sort of a little elderly person, then it could be difficult to sit with a straightened back. So you may have trouble in maintaining the cross-leg posture. But cross-leg posture, as you said, is the best posture. And there also you can, it does not mean that you are maintaining a kind of a 90-degree angle, but it's a kind of around 110-degree angle, slightly bent to the backside. And then probably you can have a cushion so that you get that proper angle. Then you can maintain for a long period of time. If it is fully exact 100 or rather 90 degrees, then it has the sometimes bit difficult to maintain for long period of time. So typically the best angle what typically found is the 110 degrees. And there are some meditation benches available which has that angle prepared. So you can use that. And there again you can keep your knees bent and what you call the, say, soles are underneath the bench. So that you are having a kind of a yoga posture where your knees are touching the floor and you are sitting, your buttocks are touching the bench. So that such benches are also available. I don't know whether we have anyone here. No, not that. The kind of a bench prepared for that. So that is another option. And the another option is to simply select a meditation chair where you have some straight straight backrest, so that you can sit comfortably and you can keep your back part or the body part leaning to the rest, and then continue with the meditation in that. So that is the another option. So you can use a chair. So it is no problem at all. So while using a chair, remember that if you are too comfortable, you can easily go to sleep. So that is the disadvantage of it. So that's why typically meditation chairs are not that extremely comfortable chairs, but a very typical simple chairs where you can simply maintain your posture and your back straight and simply meditate. And so I think these options are there. So you don't need to worry that I can't maintain the cross-leg posture. It's only a one minor problem. So please try with various other options. There are many other options are available. Yeah.
Venerable Sir, when experiencing in and out breath, can clearly experience the coolness and warmth of the air when breathing in and out, but not able to identify the beginning, middle or the end of the breath. What should I do? Theruvan Saranai.
Actually, understanding the beginning, the middle and the end is a little bit advanced stage. So you can't immediately catch it. So at the beginning, just be aware. Okay, now I am going through or I am experiencing in breath. Right now I am experiencing out breath. Okay, now in breath, now out breath. Once you are able to focus your attention, then you may be able to say how I am recognizing this in breath. What are the characteristics? Okay, the in breath is a little different than the out breath. In breath is much cooler than the out breath. Out breath is much warmer. I'm just giving an example. So likewise, you have some distinguishing characteristics. Okay, what is the difference between in-breath and out-breath? So that understanding is a little bit improvement of your meditation. Because at the beginning you can't have that much of clarity, because mind is wandering, it's keep going to other objects. So you have to again and again bring it back to the meditation object, in-breath and out-breath. But more and more you do it, more and more you are able to maintain your attention on in-breath and out-breath, then you are able to see the very subtle detail of in-breath and out-breath. So you see the difference between in-breath and out-breath. And later on, further you make your 100% involvement in this experience. So in-breath, you may understand, okay, I am at the moment experiencing only the rough part, gross part. Is it possible for me to experience the subtle part, the very fine, soft beginning of the in-breath? So you are trying your best, okay? You are paying a little bit more attention, more attentive to what is happening. And then you are able to catch very soft beginning of the in-breath. And then the sensation improves. Okay, now you are experiencing the gross in-breath. And now it is diminishing, reducing. Now again it becomes softened. And then the in-breath disappears. Now there's a kind of a gap also. Probably you may even notice that. Then you start to experience the out-breath also. It is also slowly beginning of the out-breath. Now that sensation improves and comes to a peak. And then again it reduces. And now we are experiencing the ending of the out-breath. And now we are finishing the out-breath. And in between end of the out-breath and the beginning of the in-breath, there may be a gap. And even that you might be able to experience. So likewise, it's a growing. It's a gradual growing. So don't expect you to have everything in one shot. So just step by step you can improve yourself. And later on, you will understand. Now not only this in-breath and out-breath, even this sensation, even this, say, through the in-breath, I am experiencing some coolness. So this coolness has some beginning. Now it is improving. Now it is diminishing. This warmth, now it has a kind of a beginning. It has a middle. It has an end. So it is also fluctuating. So all these subtle details you are able to capture. So that is how it happens, and it is common to everything. So you can see even when you are walking, at the beginning you may be experiencing stiffness. You don't know much about it. But even the stiffness has subtle variations. So that is the fine-tuning of your mindfulness, sati. As and when your mindfulness improve, your concentration improve, and you know what exactly the amount of effort you need to maintain, then you know the technique, then you are catching these subtle details. Yes.
Venerable Bhante, at the beginning of walking meditation, it is very pleasant, but after a while, boredom and monotony sets in. Why is this? What should we do to overcome this problem and walk longer? Blessings of the Noble Triple Gem.
Yes, actually, we need to understand the kind of the progress of the walking meditation. If I would say that again and again when we are walking, it becomes really interesting. I am getting a smile and I am laughing as I am experiencing, then we are going wrong. So it is not the outcome of the meditation. So don't expect that you to have a kind of a pleasant feeling always from the beginning to the end in the walking meditation. So it is not the way. Rather, you may experience some kind of joy when you are able to establish mindfulness, because at the beginning it's kind of a struggle because mind wanders. So again you are bringing back. Now a few more steps. Again wandering. Again bringing back. Few more steps. Again wandering. Bringing back. Again few more steps. So once you are able to fully establish mindfulness on the walking, you get some kind of peace of mind. So it is happy feeling. Later on, now it is kind of effortless and you are simply able to maintain mindfulness, and now body walks by itself and you are sort of outside watching kind of outside watcher. Simply, while the body is moving, while the body is experiencing, you are step back and then simply watching the process. It is naturally happening and you are simply witnessing it. You are now not putting your hand. Rather, you step back and you are simply experiencing. And while again it is happening, it becomes little bit of a boring. So this is an improvement of the meditation. So that we have to very clearly understand. So at that time, suppose you start to walk backward. So what will happen? So simply thinking, okay, now I am feeling bored, so I better walk back. So the backwards, you are stepping back. So it is, you are in a way hindering the progress. So it is not the way to do. It is not that you have to maintain the same amount of effort, same amount of the concentration from the beginning to the end. So then it is wrong. So at the beginning you may have to have fair amount of effort because mind is not settled. So we need some effort. But later on you have to reduce the effort as and when the concentration develops. So concentration does not properly develop if you are exerting too much effort. So you need to know the technique, you need to know the art. So as the concentration catching up, now you need to little loosen your hand, take your hand and allow it to happen. Now the concentration develops. Now mind itself stay with the step, stay with the sensation. And when it is fully with the sensation, fully understand or fully catching the momentum, then you take fully away from it and you are simply watching, kind of like simply experiencing while in the back seat, while another driver is taking you on the road, you are simply experiencing it while being in the back seat. And after a while you may feel bored. So it's an outcome. So feeling bored means now mind is not so interested of seeing detail. So that is a outcome. So don't at that time try to force your mind to see the detail. And actually at the beginning we need to force the mind to see the detail. More and more we see the detail again and again, many months, many years. Then naturally mind will come up. Naturally mind starts not interested about the detail, and then it becomes naturally be away from the detail, and it is simply observing that all these things are changing. So now he is not interested about the dryness, wetness, stiffness, such detail, but he catches the common detail that everything is changing now. So this also changing, that also changing, this is also arising, this is also passing away. So likewise, there's a kind of a complete shifting of the understanding. So at the beginning we are more interested about the detail, when we are interested about that detail, it is necessary to pay again and again attention to that. But later on, naturally it becomes bored, and then your mind starts to catch the common characteristics, what we call. That is impermanent nature. How quickly these things are changing. So that is naturally happening. So we need to allow the process.
Venerable Sir, what is a good motivation to continue with meditation despite boredom and many failed attempts? Theruvan Saranai.
Again and again meditate. So actually one way is that so we need to understand, okay, this is the only option. Still my mind not concentrated enough. So still it is getting deluded. So likewise we need to understand, okay, still my mind is not developed. So even though I feel little bored, so this is the only thing to do. There is no any other option. So you can catch a book, you can go to see a movie, you can go in front of your computer, everything are there. But if you are going to that, you are hindering the progress. You are destroying the progress. So remember, all these other things are really fantastic. They are really fascinating, and again they are deluding. So this simple, very neutral object, what we are experiencing through meditation, actually is not defiled. So it does not harm you. So all the say, suppose you are simply, you feel bored and you go to a movie or you switch on the TV and simply watching a movie. So what happens to the mind? So you get lost in the movie. So you are fully with it, fully deluded, fully in the scene. Lust arise, greed arise, anger arise, delusion arise, all the defilements are again coming to the mind. So again you are destroying yourself. So it's very difficult to purify the mind. So we are polluting our minds. So therefore it's very difficult to purify our minds. So spending many hours, many years, it's worth actually. So don't expect this to happen overnight. So it never happened overnight, because through the long samsara we have sort of deluded. Through the long samsara we have polluted our minds, and the whole outside, all the advertisements, all the media, everything pollutes the mind. So it's a kind of a, Buddha says, it's a swimming against the current. What you are trying to do is a swimming against the current. Now you are being here with 8 precepts, not eating at night, no TV, no movie, no music, no scent, no powder. What a pity of life. So your friends are enjoying, moving, enjoying the weekend. So which one is better? So we need to understand the difference. So opportunities are there. Enough opportunities are there to delude ourselves. Enough opportunities are there to destroy ourselves. But purify ourselves is extremely difficult. And Buddha says clearly on that. Say in Dhammapada, there's a verse, Sukarani asadhuni attano ahitanicha yangve hitancha sadhuncha tangve paramadukharam. Sukarani asadhuni attano ahitanicha. If something is harmful to you, dangerous to you, harmful to you, not beneficial to you, it is quite easy to do it. Yangve hitancha sadhuncha tangve paramadukharam. But if something is beneficial, really useful to you, that is extremely difficult to achieve. Now say, if you want to learn well, okay, you want to, in your studies, you need to do it better. So what do you think? Is it easy to do it or difficult to do it? Typically it is difficult to do. So say, to learn properly and to get high marks and to say enter university, everything is difficult because it is something beneficial. Similarly, so that is a really mundane activity. But how about the spiritual development? It is much more beneficial to you, and therefore it is much more difficult. So spend time. So don't expect things happen overnight. So it is quite necessary to time reflect the value of meditation, value of this undertaking. So otherwise we also get lost in the typical, commercial trend. Yes.
Venerable Sir, have been meditating for about 2 years, Anapanasati, and by now, after some time, the breath disappears. Does this mean I have reached a samadhi? And if so, is this a samatha samadhi? How do I develop this to a vipassana samadhi? Thero Saranai.
Can I ask whose question is this? Yes. Can you come for a minute? So actually, a bit difficult to answer immediately. Yes, Sukhi Hota. So if you can explain me, so you are practicing about 2 years, and then you have gone through all the kind of steps. Okay, you've seen the beginning, the middle, the end, and then experience the differences between the in-breath and out-breath. Again, experience the differences between the in-breath itself. So all these things have you gone through?
the start and the middle and the end,
Yeah.
I have not experienced it that much. I
Okay.
just the take in breath and the out breath.
Yes.
Not what goes.
Yeah. So I mean,
But what I feel is that I don't have the breath anymore.
it has
blank.
somewhat
It goes
disappeared.
blank, sort of. Yes.
Very much like blanked.
Yes.
But when you started meditation, you were able to very well understand, okay, this is the in-breath, this is the out-breath. You were able to understand.
Yes.
And later on, it becomes more and more subtle. And now what you experience is kind of a blank space type of thing.
Yes, because when I used to go to that blank space, I was again going back and trying to look for
Breath. Okay.
So I was doing that for some time, and
Yes.
I got some instructions from you.
Yes. So I can remember. So basically, I mean, so if we are trying to maintain the same amount of now, on the other way, if I say, so if I am trying to get hold of breath throughout the lifetime, then it's a wrong approach. So I mean, at the beginning, how breath appears is entirely different when it appears after a while. So say for 1 month, you are say at the beginning of the 1 month, you have some experience of the breath. But later on, say after 1 month, after 2 months of meditation, you may experience this differently. And more, say you do some walking meditation and then come to the sitting, then almost it is settled. So you can't see the breath at all. Yeah. Then if you are trying to, I can't see the breath like that. So if you are trying to get deep breath, then you are again going in the wrong direction. So now, if we know the steps, what Buddha has explained, okay, Dīgaṃ vā asasanto, Dīgaṃ asasamīti pajanāti. Rasaṃ vā asasanto, Rasaṃ asasamīti pajanāti. Sabbakāya patisangvedi assa sissāmiti sikkati. Then passam bhayam kaya sankharang assa sissāmiti sikkati. Okay, this is the kind of a gradual progress that Buddha is explaining. So passam bhayam means a kind of a final stage in the kayanupassana. So where breath calms down, it fully calms down and it almost disappears. And then only the piti arise. Piti patisamvedi assa sissāmiti sikkati. So at that time, if you are trying to get a gross breath again, then you are coming back to the kayanupassana. So, I mean, it's a gradual progress. Buddha is taking us from kayanupassana to the vedananupassana. In that vedananupassana, you will feel the piti, the rapture, the happiness, only when breath disappears. You got the point, right? When breath disappears, only you feel lightness. Breath disappears, only the mind joy arise. Breath disappears, only you feel really comfortable, like kind of you are sort of in the sky or something like that.
Yeah, but I like, since I didn't have anything to do at that time, I was like looking to do something. Like,
we actually the meditation, yes, meditation happens doing to not doing. So at the beginning we are struggling and we are doing, putting a lot of effort and we are doing. But slowly this doing has to be reduced. So we are kind of simply allowing it to happen, allowing things to happen. Then less doing. And ultimately, say for in the vipassana, when everything's, say you are experiencing, say space, there is no establishment of the consciousness and you are fully settled. At that time, if whatever you do is harmful to the meditation. And it's doing is what we were continuous to do. I had to use the language. So, but through the meditation, we are coming to a stage, we let things happen. We allow things to happen without reacting. So that is the beauty of the mindfulness. So at the beginning, we can't do it because mind distracts. Now suppose, therefore, we need to put our hand and bring it back to the meditation object. Again and again we are doing it. Okay, now we are doing. Suppose now mind itself settled in the object. Now you don't need to bring it back. Okay, you don't need to not. Labeling is not necessary now because mind stays by itself on the meditation object. So now less effort. Now you are step back and you are losing your hand and allow things to happen. And then mind is happy with the breath. Now he doesn't want to go to outside because it understood outside is harmful. Outside catches friction. But being in the breath is comfortable. And it's being happy with being with the breath. So you simply be with the breath. And you simply have to watch. Simply have to watch. If it goes only, say really if it goes only, you are slowly bringing it back. So we have to allow things to happen, calming down process. So as it calms down fully, you simply have to watch. So Buddha says in when it comes to the upekha sambojjhanga, sadhukang ajjupekkita hoti. When mind is well concentrated, there is nothing to do. Nothing to do. So you develop upekha, equanimity, by not doing. And in certain books giving an example, now in the old age or even today, that horse caravan or rather what's it called, chariots are there. So say there are 12 horses are there to pull the cart. Okay. Now if someone is running fast while the others are not in the same speed, what happens? The charioteer has to use the reins and do the controlling. Now suppose all are running on the same speed. Now does he has to do anything? He doesn't have to do anything because now all are running on the same speed. Chariot go in a proper speed very smoothly and he doesn't have to do anything because now he is happy. Because his task has finished. His everything has come to an equilibrium and he is simply watching. Now that is the state of the mind. So when mind is concentrated and being with the object properly, we simply take off our hand and let it be.
For how long? Like, what happens is like I feel, then I get pains, like the knee or like sometimes I get pain in my knee and so that, or I start scratching or something happens and
the thing is, I does not mean that all may. So when the concentration then develops and in turning into vipassana means if you are able to maintain this concentration say about 30 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour without much of a problem and you can't even distinguish whether this is in-breath or out-breath, but it becomes just a sensation type of thing. So it becomes very subtle. So that's an indication now you are having enough concentration to move towards vipassana. So you pay your attention to various touching points of the body. Okay, so you may feel the touching points of the legs, maybe the hand, likewise. So you take your attention to various points of the body. So it's a kind of start to use the tool what you have developed. So this what you are developing through Anapanasati is a kind of a concentrated state of mind. So that's a tool. That tool now you are using to observe the body at various places. Now certain place have some kind of vibration, some place have some itchiness, some place have stiffness, some place have say warmth, some hot feeling. So all these things you are experiencing. And more you experience like that, observing like that. So this concentration immediately transfer to those places and you are able to watch those. So at the beginning it may be little difficult because at the moment your mind establish your concentration at the nostril. Now you are transferring that concentration to another place quickly. And now it is watching that place. Then you are transferring to this place. Okay, now it is watching that place. Another place, watching that. So likewise, throughout the body, you are able to quickly transfer the attention and watch. So you have to sort of train the mind to do it. So then only you get the momentum, and any place it is catching your attention, you are paying close attention to that and simply watching it. What is there? Is it how it is arising? How it is changing? How it is disappearing? Is it as a one unit it is there, or is there any more units or more things there? So likewise you pay your attention. So that is the observation. So you begin the observation. Yes. Answer the question. So I mean, at the beginning it appears like samatha, and later on once you start watching the body, watching the sensation, watching the feelings, then it becomes vipassana.
Yeah. No, yesterday you were explaining about dhyana.
Yes.
Then only it occurred to me what was dhyana and what was
in the jhana
samadhi. What is the different sort of that's how the question came into.
Yes. In the jhana we don't do this observation. Simply we keep on maintaining our attention at the nostril. We don't transfer our attention to the other observations, rather maintain at the nostril till the anapanasati sign appears. Okay. So it's a more and more keeping the mind still, keeping the mind concentrated, and then only the deep concentration would happen. But in the typical say vipassana based meditation, so we don't actually essential to go to jhana. Rather, while being in the upachara samadhi, what we call as the neighborhood concentration or some fair amount of excess concentration, so that is more than enough to switch to the vipassana, because while being in the vipassana itself develops concentration. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Thero Hotu.
Gauravaniya Swamin Wahansa, when watching the in-breath and out-breath during Anapanasati meditation, please advise how we should follow the breath until it disappears. Theruvan Saranai.
So I'll explain from the beginning. So, okay, you sit comfortably and keep your posture erect, and then you simply try to keep your attention at the nostril. Okay, so then you are able to understand, okay, at the moment, now in-breath happens. At this time, out-breath happens. Some indication, somehow you know, now this is in-breath, now at the moment I am breathing in. At the moment I am breathing out. So that's enough for the time being. So I am breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. Now you are forgetting about the whole world and collect your attention to this breathing process. Sato assa sati, sato passa sati. That's all. So mindfully you are breathing in. Mindfully you are breathing out. So if you are a beginner, so in order to further facilitate this, you can even label it. When the breathing in happens, you can simply label it as in. When breathing out happens, you can simply label it as out. Okay, in, out, in, out. So likewise, so you use this labeling so that mind become more concentrated, more focused on what it is experiencing. Later on, if you are able to maintain attention, if mind does not wander, then you can stop this labeling and simply experiencing it. Okay, now the breathing in happens, you are simply watching it, experiencing it. Breathing out happens, you are simply experiencing it. And that is more calming down, that is more relaxing. And more you do like that, and you may see certain characteristics are there to define the in-breath. Okay, in-breath is more cooler. In-breath may be longer. Likewise, certain differences are there. Out-breath may be warmer, may be shorter. So likewise, certain characteristics are there. So these things differ from person to person, the period of the time. So likewise, they also vary. So you simply at the moment, what are the differences? So you simply understand these differences as well. More and more you see these things, more and more you are able to understand these things, further you will understand there are differences between two consecutive in-breaths. Okay, the first in-breath is longer than the second in-breath. Okay, the first out-breath is longer than the second out-breath. Or first in-breath is shorter than the second in-breath. So likewise, in between in-breaths, there are differences. In between out-breaths, there are differences. So you understand these differences as well. So that is the next step. So further, now you are fully in it. You have fair amount of concentration now. Mind has less wandering. You may hear sounds and various things, but those things does not disturb you. Your mind is fairly focused on the in-breath and out-breath. Then you pay your attention further to see the beginning, the middle, the end of the in-breath. Beginning, the middle, the end of the out-breath. So that is, you need to train yourself. Okay, is it possible for me to see the beginning of the in-breath, middle of the in-breath, ending of the in-breath? So you need to tame your mind. You need to pay close attention to understand this. So it may be very soft, it may be very subtle, because what you experience at the beginning is only the middle gross part. But now you are trying to do a more delicate thing. Okay, you are trying to catch the more soft beginning of the in-breath. Similarly, to catch the more soft ending of the in-breath. So these things actually needs more attention, more focused concentration, attention. So that is how we are improving. So and that is how we have to progress. And for that you need to train yourself. So Buddha says, Sabbakaya patisangvedi assa sissamiti sikkhati. Sikkhati means you train yourself. So you forget about the other things. All things you neglect, all the distractions you neglect, and you full awareness, full attentively you watch the breath. So in your world, nothing other than breath. So then you are able to see it. Okay.
Venerable Bhante, in sitting meditation, when thoughts are still coming heavily, I lose feeling the breath. However, at that time, I can switch my focus to the rising and falling of the abdomen. Is it okay to switch primary meditation object during meditation? Theruvan Saranai.
Simple answer is no. Because, it is not the switching the object. Rather, now, even if you switch the object, when rising and falling becomes subtle, again you get more distracting thoughts. Because the challenge become more and more challenging now. You need to have more focused attention. You need to have more refined mindfulness to see this subtle detail. At the beginning it is gross, it is easy in a way. But later on it is calming down. The breath calms down. And similarly, if your meditation object is rising and falling also calms down. So you may think that rising and falling may be gross. Therefore I better switch to that and I can easily go through that. But after a while you may find that also will calms down. So it is a progress of the meditation. You need to understand. So since you are doing in-breath and out-breath meditation, breathing meditation, so go through that. So when it becomes subtle, tranquil, so let it happen. Now say your mind wanders and again bring it back, and if the wandering is too much, introduce noting. Still with in-breath and out-breath. Maybe introduce noting, little increase effort to bring it back. So likewise only you have to pass this junction with change in the object is entirely wrong attitude, wrong approach.
Gauravaniya Swamin Wahansa, during meditation when the mind shifts from the primary object, is it because of defilements that have crept in? Theruvan Saranai.
One option is, one reason is that, okay, due to defilements, it is shifting to the other object. Another way of telling is that less concentration. Okay, if you have fair amount of concentration, so establish mindfulness, then no movement to the other distracting objects. Because right now, less concentration or even no concentration. Therefore, mind is not collected. Mind is here and there. So now, through the meditation, what we are trying to do is this: collect the mind. Collect the mind and more focus to one object. And later on is still when you are in the one object, with less effort, concentrated, still it shifts. So then you can say it is due to defilements. So at the beginning it may happen due to various other reasons, but even when you are very comfortable, well concentrated, and allow minds to behave as it wish. You need to clearly understand this point. Now suppose you are putting your effort and you tame the mind, and now mind has tamed, mind has concentrated. Since the mind has concentrated, you loosen your hand. Okay, you loosen the effort. Now mind has the freedom to behave as it wish. If there are no defilements, it will remain as it is. So you don't need to do anything. Suppose an arahant, so if he loosen the concentration, if he loosen the effort, does his mind go to the defilements? No, because his mind is fully purified. But our minds, since we have the defilements, okay, even mind is before jumping, if it is at the moment, it is well concentrated, well purified, and well focused, very attentive. And now we allow things to happen. And after a while, mind shift to lust. After a while, mind shift to anger, because the inner momentum is there, inner tendencies are there, latent tendencies are there. They catch the mind to lust. They catch the mind to, say, greed, to the hatred. So that is a kind of a revealing experience. So then we understand, okay, still I have these problems. Still I have to rectify these issues. So then it's a very progressive way of vipassana actually.
Venerable Bhante, could you please explain further how you can go from sila to panya without samadhi? Theruvan Saranai.
That's Venerable Sariputta said, no? Okay, actually that sutta, Suttavanta Sutta and the Silavanta Sutta is a bit radical. So there Venerable Sariputta explains that when one develops morality, he can then immediately goes to the development of the panya, to the wisdom, without much paying attention to the concentration training. But there are many other suttas which explains the gradual path. Okay, you develop morality and then you develop concentration and then you develop wisdom. So don't try to find a shortcut because of this sutta. So if you are trying to find a shortcut, okay, I don't need to worry about the concentration. Now I have already got the 8 precepts, so I just directly go to vipassana. So actually there's a approach called dry vipassana, shushka vidarshana, you might have heard it. So that is available in mainly in Burma. So they continuously do the labeling, naming. So when your hand is lifting, when you are watching, lifting, drinking, tasting, swallowing, again putting. So each and every action you have to label. So there is no in between any kind of a gap. So the continuous labeling. So that is also available. So in that method, you don't need to do any particular samatha meditation from the very moment you wake up till the very moment you go to sleep. It's a continuous paying attention. Continuously you are menhi kirima, but say, what's the proper word? Labeling, noting. We simply say noting. So continuously you have to note each and every action. When you are walking, standing, watching, hearing, seeing. So likewise, each and everything you have to label, note. So then you are not allowing the mind to wander. You are not allowing the mind to be in the stories. Because you are trying to maintain your attention in the present moment. It no more a scene, rather say when you see someone, say maybe your mother, you may be your father, you may be your son, daughter, but without going to that detail, you are simply noting it as seeing. And then you hear some sound. Okay, it may be a bird, it may be a dog, maybe a cow. Rather than going to that detail, you simply note it as hearing. So that is also possible. So, and say when you are tasting, okay, it may be a tea, it may be coffee, it may be say toffee, whatever thing. So it's still tasting. So you are not going to the detail, the content, rather you keep your attention at the bare attention level. So then there is no possibility of arising of the defilements. So no creation of the stories. So you keep your attention at the very surface level. So the surface is not the right term. The bare attention level. So no room for developing of the defilements. No room for papancha. So ditte dittamattam bhavisati. So that actually can be done through proper samatha vipassana approach as well. Say for example, you develop some amount of concentration through anapanasati. Say you develop all the fair amount of concentration, and then you develop vipassana. Okay, you start watching the various things, and you further improve yourself. After a while, you also come to this same approach. So there, you don't need to label, you don't need to note, but mind itself does not wander. Probably you might have experience, when you have very good vipassana, you may be watching, or rather you may be seeing certain things, but the information does not come to your mind. You may hear certain sounds, but those sounds does not disturb you. I think some of you may have such experience. Okay, you see things, but the detail of or the content of what you are seeing does not bother you, does not cause defilements to arise. But internally you are composed, internally you are satisfied, internally you are peaceful. So this happens through vipassana. This ditte dittamattam bhavisati actually happens through vipassana. So artificially we are trying to get that through this say this kind of approach. We are introducing noting, each and everything continuously noting.
Venerable Bhante, thank you very much for explaining Anatma as non-self yesterday. Very often we are told to meditate on Trilakshana, Anitya, Dukkha, Anatma. Could you please explain how we can do this? Theruvan Saranai.
Actually, I can say we have to, rather than if we are simply say we are taught to meditate on Anitya, Dukkha, Anatta, so I think it's a wrong statement. So it is not that we are doing a kind of a meditation on anicca dukkha anatta, but rather we are simply observing things. Observing how body behaves, observing how the elements behave, observing various sensations, observing various feelings, observing the states of the mind, various consciousness. When we are experiencing these things, when we are observing these things, what we understand is anicca dukkha anatta, impermanent, suffering and non-self. It is not that we are trying to program the mind telling that this is impermanent, this is suffering, this is non-self. It's a wrong approach. We are trying to program the mind, condition the mind, telling the mind, okay, this is not permanent, this is impermanent. This is not happiness, this is suffering. This is not self, this is non-self. So likewise, we are trying to force the mind to these characteristics. It's a wrong approach. Rather, we are simply observing things. Okay, we have a fairly concentrated mind. With the concentrated mind, we are simply observing. Okay, now there is a pain. What happens to this pain? Is it permanent? Is it appearing at the same intensity from the beginning to the end? Or is it varying? Is it changing? Is it starting? Is it arising and it is then changing and then it is disappearing? If that is the case, is it permanent or impermanent? So it's a investigation actually. It is a wise attention. It is a yoniso manasikara where we continuously observe these things with some equanimous mind. So we have no preference. It's a kind of a attentive mind. So it's a kind of a scientific approach where we are simply observing things to learn how things are behaving. So then ultimately what we understand is impermanence, suffering and non-self. So that is the approach we have to take. So in that approach, there is no conditioning to the mind. There is no conditioning, but rather it is kind of a deconditioning, de-learning process. Because as when we understand the impermanence, the suffering and the non-self, so we get a fair amount of release to the mind. We give up things, we relinquish things, and we come to a kind of freedom. Yes.
Bhante, this question is in Sinhalese. Can I present?
Yes.
ගරු ස්වාමීන් වහන්ස භාවනාවට යොමු විට කයේ අපහසුතාවන් නොදැනේ. එකම ඉරියව්වෙන් විනාඩි 45ක් පැයක් පමණ සිටිය හැක. ආනාපානයට සිත යොමු කරගෙන සිටින විට එය සියුම් වී නොදැනෙන තැනකට පැමිණේ. ඒ විට සිත සතිමත් බව වැටහේ. බාහිර අරමුණු ආවත් ඒ ඔස්සේ සිත ඈත නොයන බව වැටහේ. පිටතින් ශබ්දයක් ඇසුණත් එය මෙනෙහි වේ. හේතු සකස් වී ඇසුණු බවත් හේතු නැතු වී විට එය නැති වෙන බවත් වැටහේ. සිත සියුම් වී පවතින විට අසා දැනගත් දහම් කරුණු වඩා හොඳින් තමා තුලින්ම අවබෝධ වන බවත් වැටහේ. උදාහරණයක් තද වැස්ස පැවතුන වෙලාවේ එහි ඇති ආපෝ තේජෝ වායෝ පඨවි බවත් එහි ඇති අනිත්‍ය බවත් කායට සාපේක්ෂ කර බැලීමට හැකිවිය. සිත සති සමාධි ගතියකින් තිබෙන විට දහම් කරුණු ගැන යොමු වේ. මෙය ධර්මානුපස්සනාවදයි නොදනිමි. කරුණාවෙන් මෙහි හරි වැරද්ද කියා දෙන මෙන් ඉල්ලා සිටිමි. තෙරුවන් සරණයි.
ඇතරම මේ හිත හොඳට සතිමත් වෙලා සමාහිත වෙලා තියෙනකොට දේවල් වැටහෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක හොඳයි. නමුත් අර ඒක වැටහෙනකොට අපි ඒක ඔස්සේ දිගින් දිගට හිතා යන්න ගියොත් නොදැනුවත් අපේ සීමාව පැනලා අපි නැවතත් විතර්ක බහුල වෙනවා. ඒ නිසා ෂණික වැටහීම ආවට කමක් නැහැ. નિરાයාසයෙන් එන වැටහීම ආවට කමක් නැහැ. ඒන වැටහීමක් වුණත් අපේ මැදිහත් වීමක් ඔස්සේ තවදුරටත් ගෙනියන්න අවශ්‍ය නැහැ. දැන් උදාහරණයක් විදිහට දැන් ඔන්න වහින්න පටන් ගත්තා. දැන් ඔන්න වහින්න පටන් ගත්තාම ඉතින් අපිට ක්ෂණික වැටහීමක් ආවා. මේක මේ මං කරපු දෙයක් නෙමෙයි. ඔන්න මේ හේතුන් නිසා ඔන්න වහිනවා. ඊට පස්සේ දැන් ඔන්න අපි ඔන්න පොතත් එක්ක ගලපන්න යනවා. මේක මේ ජල චක්‍රයේද මේ ජල චක්‍රය කොහොමද ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙන්නේ? අන්න පොත වරද්දගත්ත තැන. එච්චර දුර යනවා කියන්නේ වැරදි. එතකොට අන්න අපි තේරුම් ගන්න ඕනේ මේ දැන් ඔන්න ආයේ මේ මායя ඔන්න මාව අල්ලගන්න යන්නේ මේ පොතේ දැනුමක් මේ එන්නේ මේ අර ආපු මේ දැනුමක් නෙමෙයි කියලා අන්න තේරුම් අරගෙන එච්චර දුර යන්නේ නැතුව මුලින් ආපු අර මේ ෂණිකව නිකන් අර මොකක්ද ඒකට කියන්නේ මේ ෂණිකව ආපු දැනුම ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. ඒක අපිට ඉන්සයිට් එකක්. නැත්නම් මේ විපස්සනාවේ ආපු පුංචි ඥානයක් කියලා කියන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක වරදක් නැහැ. ඒක ඒ දැනුම් මාත්‍රයෙන් කෙටියෙන් නවත්ත ගන්න. ඊට පස්සේ නැවතත් අර තමන්ගේ ඒ සමාහිත මට්ටමකට හොඳ උපේක්ෂා සහගත නිරීක්ෂණයට පැමිණෙන්න. එතකොට ඔන්න තව දේවල් හොඳට ෂණිකව වැටහෙවි. එහෙම නැතුව අපි අර ආපු පොඩි වැටහීමත් එක්ක දිගින් දිගට හිතන්න ගියොත් අපි නොදැනුවත්ව නැවතත් මේ සිතුවිලි ඔස්සේ නැත්නම් කතන්දර ඔස්සේ ප්‍රපංච ඔස්සේ යන ගතියක් තියෙනවා. ඉතින් ධම්මානුපස්සනාව කිව්වහම ඊට ටිකක් එහාට ගිහිල්ලා කියන්න පුළුවන්. ඇත්තටම ධම්මානුපස්සනාව මට්ටමේදී හිතලා ගන්න දේවල් නෙමෙයි තියෙන්නේ. අපි හිතලා දැනුමක්, ඒ කියන්නේ පොතේ දැනුමක් ගැනීම වෙනුවට දැන් මේ හිත කොහොමද තියෙන්නේ? උදාහරණයක් විදිහට දැන් හිත දිහා බලාගෙන ඉන්නවා. වාඩි වෙලා මුකුත් දැන් කයට අවධානයක් නැහැ, වේදනාවලට අවධානයක් නැහැ. හිත දිහා බලන් ඉන්නවා. හිත දිහා බලන් ඉඳන් ඔන්න හිතේ කලින් නොතිබිච්ච කාමච්ඡන්දයක් දැන් එනවා දැනෙනවා. දැන් තේරුම් ගන්න ඕන කලින් කාමච්ඡන්දයක් තිබුණ නැහැ. ඔන්න දැන් ඔන්න කාමච්ඡන්දේ මතුවෙනවා. දැන් මේ කාමච්ඡන්දේ මගේ කාමච්ඡන්දයක් නෙමෙයි. මේක මේ මොකක්දෝ හේතුවක් නිසා මෙන්න මේ කාමච්ඡන්දයක් ආවා. දැන් මම මේ කාමච්ඡන්දේ වශයෙන් තේරුම් ගත්ත නිසා මම ඒක පෝෂණය කරන්නේ නැහැ. ඒ නිසා ඒ කාමච්ඡන්දයම දුර වෙලා යනවා. නැත්තම් දුර්වල වෙලා යනවා. දුර්වල ගියාමත් දැනගන්නවා දැන් ඔන්න කාමච්ඡන්දය අර තිබිච්ච කාමච්ඡන්දේ දුර වෙලා ගියා. නැවතත් ඔන්න හිත නිදහස්. අන්න ඒක අපිට ධම්මානුපස්සනාවක් කියන්න පුළුවන්. මොකද අර හිතට ආපු ඒ නීවරණයක් වශයෙන් තේරුම් ගත්තා. ඒ නීවරණට අහුුනේ නැහැ. ඒ වගේම නීවරණේ ආවයි කියලා මේ සංතාප මොකක්ද ඒකට කියන්නේ මේ මානසිකව වැටෙන්න ගියෙත් නැහැ. මානසිකව කියන්නේ කරදරයක් කරගන්න ගියෙත් නැහැ. මොකද දැන් සතිය හොඳට ප්‍රබලයි. හිත ගැන සෑහෙන වැටහීමක් තියෙනවා. සතිය බල මට්ටමක තියෙනවා. ඒ නිසා මේවා ආවයි කියලා බය වෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඒවා ආපු හැටියට දැනගන්නවා. ධර්මතාවයන් වශයෙන් තේරුම් ගන්නවා. ඒවා ආවනම් ඒවම යනවා කියන එකේ විශ්වාසය Taman තුල තියෙනවා. හොඳයි. එතකොට අපිට okay. Now we have come to the end of the written questions. So if you have any more questions, we can go through them, or else we can wind up the session. So then we'll wind up the session. So and typically we have the Dhamma sermon at 4 p.m. So today we'll have at 4 p.m. Okay, so I'll meet you here at 4 p.m. Thank you for active participation. Thero Saranai.